Hi everybody, my name is Z and welcome to my book review of Carl Sagan's The Demon Haunted World. So Carl Sagan was a famous astronomer, planetary scientist, but also a very popular science communicator. You might know him because he was famous as one of the people who came up with the plate that was put onto the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 spacecraft. And he was also instrumental in some of the work related to the search of extraterrestrial intelligence or SETI. So that's a bit around who Carl Sagan was. So he wasn't just a communicator, he was also somebody who contributed actively to science. Where this book was published shortly before he passed away, sadly, where he talks about the value of skepticism and rational thought. The core of it, this book covers a number of phenomenon. Those range from everything related to, say, reincarnation, past lives, UFO abductions, the Salem witch trials, to things like astrology, where he makes a case around the importance of critical thinking when faced with claims that are questionable. So for example, the whole story around reincarnation, he talks about how somebody said that they could remember their past lives and this person remembers living 3,000 years before. Unfortunately, the person living 3,000 years before only spoke English with a funny accent and couldn't really say very much about the culture, the food, the daily life of what it was like in the past, hence leading to some serious doubt about the accuracy of it. He also goes into the psychology of the Salem witch trials, where he talks about how the witch hunts were often driven by belief structures grounded in superstition and very often very biased judgments that had very real impact on women who were accused of witchcraft and burnt at the stake. So at the end of the day, it is about the value of being a skeptic. And rather than just debunking a whole bunch of phenomenon, what he actually offers in the book is what he calls a baloney detection kit. Now, baloney is somewhat of an American term. It means nonsense, and he provides a series of what he calls a baloney detection kit, like a tool set that you can use to help you think better when you are faced with things that don't sound quite right. And a phrase that he cites in the book is extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So the toolkit has a number of principles ranging from things such as ensuring that you don't accept arguments from authority. You always ask for evidence that is measurable, evidence that you can test, that you can validate across multiple sources. So it's not just one study, but even if there is a scientific study, they are independently done. And even though he says that you shouldn't put too much stock in arguments from authority, he does say that we need to have open debates with people who are knowledgeable in the field, by experts. But the experts themselves need to recognize that they may be biased. So he talks about not having attachments to hobby horse theories, and everything should be guided by sound reasoning. And if you have multiple explanations, quite often the simplest explanation is the explanation that wins. And you may have heard of this. This is called Occam's razor. So if I were to try and sum up the book in 3 simple bullet points, I'd say that what he was really trying to get at is trying to explain that belief systems are not the same as knowledge. They have their place, and I think he understands why people want to believe in something like the dead contacting you because you miss your loved ones, but he cautions what happens when you start mixing belief in something with knowledge about how something works. And which brings me to the second point, idea of disciplined skepticism and the value thereof. So he's not talking about doubting everything for the sake of doubting it, but doubting it in a way that helps you, but doubting things in a measured manner that allows you to make better judgments when faced with new information. And thirdly, stepping back away from just individual levels, he defends the scientific method as a way of understanding the world. Now, when we say science, most of the time we refer to science as a collection of facts or theories. What Carl Sagan was talking about was the scientific method. How science isn't just about the facts, it's about the approach where you work transparently, you are open to discussion and debate, but you are also grounded in observation and evidence. And in his book, he talks a lot about how the scientific method is currently the best way that we have to understand the world that we live in. So this is my review of Carl Sagan's book. In terms of my own thoughts, so now we're getting into territory of what's not in the book, but my personal views. I think that this book, it's been a while since this book's been written. It was published in 1995. It is easily almost 3 years later. So you might be asking, how relevant is this book today? And I would say it's very relevant. The difference now between 1995 is the tools in the baloney detection kit are still valid. What's different now is that anyone with AI tools can generate slop in huge volumes at huge velocities. And it becomes very hard as an individual where if you want to exercise rational thought, you are sometimes overwhelmed. I think the second thing that's kind of related to the first is our information sphere, the kind of info that we consume on a regular, is governed very much by algorithms. And these algorithms maximize for emotional engagement. But what happens because of that is that quite often it tends to weight things that sound right, feel good, are simple to understand. And something that Sagan's book talks about how you should recognize emotion, but at the same time you should also guard against biases. And the last piece here is around how today, at least, the very nature of what makes science robust in terms of the skepticism, the debate has been in a way turned against it, where it's quite easy to discredit good science by casting doubt and asking people to do your own research. So what we can do as individuals is that we can, one, in terms of the inundation of data, I think it's no longer enough to just exercise rational thought. You need to be more discerning of the kind of information that we choose to consume, putting a filter in front of us to kind of protect us from the sheer volume of information that's available. Now, the other thing that we can do around trying to beat the algorithm is ensure that we build that bridge between explanation and understanding. It's gotten very easy today with AI tools to generate plausible sounding explanations. They look good, they hang together right, but having something explained or just reading a fact isn't the same as understanding it. And this is where the exercise on reason still comes in, where you need to consider what are the premises, how the premises link, do these hold together, is it grounded in evidence, basically everything that Carl Sagan mentioned in the baloney detection kit. And where required, slow things down so you can make a judgment about whether or not to believe something and to act on it. Now, the third bit is very clearly we live in a time where our institutional trust in universities, in experts, professors is at a low. I think what we can do at an individual level is ensure that we cultivate the right skills that allow us to have civil discourse. We need to be comfortable to have the right kind of conversations, bring in the experts and listen to them, all at the same time while trying to avoid giving too much credence to arguments from authority. I believe that we are currently in a space where things are very polarized, and more often than not, we link our identity to what it is that we believe. But being able to engage in the right kind of open debate will help to understand what is an assertion versus what is a fact. So that's my review of the Demon Haunted World. Even after 30 years, the Demon Haunted World is still a very relevant book that is super useful because it gives you a way of thinking about the way that you think, about engaging with new ideas, and to approach things with a certain degree of healthy skepticism. I hope you found this book review interesting and useful, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below. Bye.